This is a 160 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff attorney, Mr. Sosa, capital S-O-S-A. Defense attorney, Mr. West, capital W-E-S-T. And we'll start with plaintiff attorney. Ready? I want to ask you, it appeared last Thursday that you were a little unsure about who went back up to the apartment after you. Thomas and Forrest were walking down. Is that fair to say? Yes. Okay, but let me ask you something. Are you positive that someone did go back upstairs? Yes. Okay, and why are you positive about that? Because I remember only walking back with one officer and somebody comes back when we were getting into the car. Okay, and well, who did you ride in the car with, ma'am? Officer Forrest. Okay, do you recall telling Detective Summers, quote, I think it was Officer Forrest. I wasn't sure if it was Thomas or Forrest. When I was here, I was thinking about it, but I'm still kind of hazy because I know one of them, as we were walking down the stairs, goes, oh, I forgot something and went back into the apartment, and by the time we were at the cars, I think it was Forrest, we were already there. Yes, that sounds familiar. I recall that. All right. And when you gave that statement, ma'am, that was in June of 2004. Is that correct? Yes. Now, one of the things that you said today was that Jane Doe was the victim, I think. Defense counsel used that word, but you seemed to agree. Is that your understanding of when you were there initially when we got on scene? Yes. Okay, so are you saying initially, so at some point she no longer became the victim? She didn't ever become a suspect, so she didn't. You know what I'm saying, she didn't. I guess I could agree with you, but she didn't. Okay, she kind of just became not anybody of specific importance, I guess you could say. Well, I don't know how to word that. We were shown the house. I'm going to show you again what's pre-marked as People's 8. It's a little difficult to see it there. There we go. You recognize what we're looking at, right? Yes. Let me ask you, if someone was a victim to a crime, would you force them to sit staring at the wall for 2 hours? Staring at what wall? Well, staring at any wall. She wasn't staring at a wall. Well, what was she looking at? She was sitting down facing the rest of the room. Okay, you said that you were watching her, right, ma'am? Part of the time. Okay, and do you make sure that someone's watching a victim in this type of situation? Well, you always want somebody with anybody at any. You don't just leave. I don't know how to word this, what I want to say. Let me ask you, did you tell her that she had to sit down in that chair? Probably did, yes. Okay, and was it your testimony the other day that you were told to keep an eye on her? Yes. Okay, and whose residence was this? This was hers. And in her residence, how many different baggies of meth that contained some, I think, what you described as sand in it, sand-like amounts, two, okay, and in her residence, one of your training officers showed you something in the closet, right? Yes. Okay, did you think that at any point, did you think those needles, those syringes were for medical purposes? No. What did Officer Thomas point out to you about that spoon, that had drug residue on it? It was used in assistance with using drugs. I'm going to show you again what's pre-marked as People's 73. It's 2 separate pages, the first and second page. I'm going to show you the top right picture on the second page. Is that the spoon? Yes, it is. Did he show you that there was some residue still there? Yes. When you found the spoon with the residue, what kind of residue was it? I think it had residue on it. Meth. Okay. It wasn't tested, so I can't positively say. All right, why wasn't it tested? Because I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it had a little residue on it, but I can't confidently say that. All right, and it was dirty. Let me just say that. It was dirty. When you say dirty as an officer, when you're saying it was dirty, what does that mean? I'm saying it was dirty. It wasn't clean is what I'm saying. Was there food residue? I don't remember. As you sit here, ma'am, Ms. Ray, are you telling us that you can't tell us if it was some kind of breakfast or food material that was on that spoon? Right now, I don't remember, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, it was directly next to the syringes. Is that fair to say? Yes. And how many syringes were in there? A lot, like 20. And whose closet was it, ma'am? Jane Doe's. Okay. Is it still your testimony that Jane Doe was a victim and she was just hanging out, sitting down in the middle of the room? As I said, she wasn't a victim, she wasn't a suspect, so she was in the middle. That's what I said, as I recall. Did you also believe that she was what we refer to as 11-5-50 under the influence? Yes, you said at some point. You didn't collect those syringes, is that fair to say? Yes. Okay, as a trainee who makes the final decision as to what evidence is collected, you or your training officer, ma'am, my training officer, well, I should be making decisions for myself, but I ask in case I'm not sure. If I'm not told not, then I don't. Okay, and did you ask your training officer, Jim Forrest, hey, there's 20, same photo I was showing before, there's 20 or so syringes, and you testified last time that some of them were capped and some of them were not capped, right next to what you refer to as a dirty spoon. Did you tell your training officer, hey, should we collect this stuff? I believe I did. Okay, and what was your training officer's final say in that? Objection, no foundation, just indicate speculation. Sustained as to foundation, leave to stay in the area. Okay, well, did you tell him? Yes, okay, and what did he say? I don't remember. I don't remember. I remember it being like, don't worry about it, kind of a thing. So you didn't collect it? No, I did not. Do you remember telling Detective Bates that you were confused? Yes. All right, the word list. We have Thomas, capital Thomas. Jim Forrest, capital Jim. New word, capital Forest. Summers, capital Summers. Jane Doe, capital Jane. New word, capital DOE. Ms. period Ray, capital RAE. Detective Bates, capital D on Detective, Bates, capital BATES. And that is it for the word list. And that will conclude our 160 Q&A practice test.